When I first started with Pivot, because of my situation with my credit card debt, I wasn't actually in a position to have a lot of money at my disposal. And so when my friend mentioned that he was already seeing Pivot, I thought, oh, maybe that's another expense I don't really need right now. I'm already in debt. But when I started doing the actual process and going through all the stages, I realized it isn't something that really impacts me financially. You don't really feel it at all. And it's managed in such a smart way that you get so much value from it that it outweighs anything that you have to pay.
Probably been more things that have happened and Pivot have helped us with just outside financial advice alone. We have a team of people now who help us with our finances. We've got great relationships with a mortgage broker who we've purchased 2 properties with now, and he works in conjunction with Pivot, so a lot of that heavy lifting is done for us with the great communication they have between each other. We've also, our accountant as well, that we have on board is terrific, and we found them through Pivot as well, because you just don't know where to start. You can just open up a phone book and try and pick someone, but it's so much better when someone recommends them wholeheartedly. And we're all working on the same thing, and I think Pivot has always been really great at helping us move the information around so that everyone has the information they need to help us get everything done that we need to get done. We have some pretty interesting tax situations I have some US shares which make things a little complicated. I don't fully understand it, but I have a team of people around me who help me make better decisions with that, and I just couldn't have done it on my own.
So one of the key takeaways that really I instilled from my work with Pivot is really just how I manage my cash flows and understanding how accounts are best structured in a way to not all of a sudden just kind of put everything on the credit card and then pay it off at the end of the month and those type of things. So really just better financial habits, and the reality is, I don't stick religiously to them, and that's kind of fine, but there's just some basic principles that I didn't have in place before, which has given me more structure to the way that I manage my personal finances and more rigor around it. So it's bred better habits in me that were non-existent before we started working together.
We're quite relaxed and I guess comfortable with our financial position now. We know where all of our money goes. We know where every cent goes. We've got short-term plans, we've got long-term plans.
I think it's part of that security piece.
Yeah, peace of mind.
Before, as we were kind of mentioning, we were living very much like week to week, whereas now we know that there's a bit more of a strategy in place, there's things to back us up, we're sort of planning for a lot of different scenarios, and life can be a little crazy and change, and I think it's knowing that we have a bit more security and we're not constantly just chasing our tail. I'd say would be the biggest shift for us.
The biggest benefit that we found when it came to aligning our finances was that the world of finance can be wildly confusing. I had certain knowledge gaps in some areas, my partner had certain knowledge gaps in other areas, and it was amazing to work with Ben and the team to help fill those knowledge gaps, align on our goals, and be incredibly clear on what we wanted to achieve and what we wanted to do moving forward to create financial freedom for ourselves.
So the way Pivot and I worked through my financial strategy was they came in from very much the beginning, helped me to diagnose the problem and I guess what my objectives were, both short-term and long-term, which I originally contacted them in regards to short-term, but it really was beneficial to go through the long-term process as well. And then, through a series of meetings and support really helped to create a strategy for me, aligned to my goals. A financial strategy, which obviously was supported throughout the entire time with regular check-ins, making sure that we were moving towards my objectives and that I was getting the results and goals that I really wanted to see. And that was really easy in terms of digital check-ins, email check-ins, whatever I needed. It was kind of an easy process.